They were awful.
Yeah.
Dorsey comes up in there. They got some studs. I think they did a great job drafting Denzel Ward. Obviously, Garrett Ball. We know that. Mayfield. Let's see what he does as time goes on. You got to understand that when you have coordinators like a Greg Williams and Todd Haley, guys that everybody in football respect in terms of their football acumen, them knowing what they're doing. These are guys that believe they should be the head coach. So how much are they listening to you? You see what I'm saying? So you never know what kind of friction and problems that could cause. When you combine that, and I've said this, and this is not personal in terms of me, but this is personal in terms of I want to be very, very sensitive to what I'm saying.
Okay.
As somebody who lost my mom, knowing what that feels like for Hue Jackson to stay with this team, losing his mother and his brother, I believe, in a 2-week span.
It was brutal.
I mean, it don't get much more brutal than that. And so when you combine that with having to go to work and essentially working with individuals that you might not be on the same page as, and they think they know more than you, all right, and probably do, by the way, in all fairness to them, because Greg Williams has been around a damn long time, and so is Todd Haley, and they do know what they're doing. And to have both of those personalities as your coordinator, you never know what kind of friction that creates. Now, having said all of that, where your right is, you can't come out knowing all of those things. Having a 336-1 record as the head coach in 2 years and 6 games and throw other people
Hold that
on the
thought,
bus.
because we
You
have
cannot do that.
breaking news into my ear right now. They just let him go.
Hue Jackson.
Yeah. Hue
Wow.
Jackson has been fired as head coach of the
He was
Browns.
just fired.
It seems to me that they were
What
looking...
a year for him, though,
Yeah.
seriously. When you
Yes.
mentioned the personal
That's right.
issues,
It seems to me like they were looking for an excuse to do it, and now the time is right after that loss.
Yes.
Divisional, the whole thing. I'll say this, as someone who has had, and so have you, Stephen A., experienced years where I've had a personal loss. Yeah. It absolutely can affect the work you do. It can, but that may mean that job is not right for you at that time in your life. And that as kind of cruel as it sounds or cold as it is, that if you're not prepared for whatever reason, extenuating circumstances, personal reasons, to get the job done, then someone else should probably be doing the job.
A private story as an aside. I remember when Isaiah Thomas was running the New York Knicks, and one of the heated arguments that we've gotten into, and I'm not divulging anything, it's something that I revealed years ago. We actually got into a huge argument because I wanted him to quit the Knicks before they fired him. I was like, you need to walk away, because the situation was so bad. He was in the process. His mother was going through some things at the time, and God rest her wonderful soul. And it was one of those situations where he had to go through so much. It was like you come into work every day and you see individuals, you get rattled, and so when you're going through those personal things, you're not always equipped to deal with something in that moment. You're much, much better as time goes on, because time heals wounds, as you and I both know. But when you're going through it, the slightest thing can set you off. And it's nobody's fault. It's just what it is. And if you're Hue Jackson and you're in that kind of situation with coordinators who know the game, who probably believe they're better suited for the job than you, that's a tough situation to be in.
I'll say this, guys.
And it's just too much.
That's the Hue Jackson of it all, now that he's been let go. The Browns' head coaching job, I think, is one of the best in sports right now.
Yeah.
You think about all the talent on that team. You think where the expectations are, how bad they've been recently, how hungry the fan base is. Whew.
I got to tell you something, too. I would give either Todd Haley or Greg Williams the job. I would give it to them for the rest of the season.
For the interim.
Just to see.
Yeah,
for the rest of the season.
Yes.
I would give it to one of them, just to see.
Oh, I got something
just to
in mind.
see.
Do you want to say
I'm
it?
not going to say it right now, but I think a lot of people have the same person in mind. I think this person's probably the hottest head coaching football candidate there is right now in the world.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
All right. But back to Hue Jackson, really feel for him, and I hope he's got a great support system around him, because regardless of the job, to lose your brother, lose your mother, and now your job, that's rock bottom.